And so I wanted to leave and go, which was maybe about 20-minute ride, 15, 20-minute ride. And then do the service with the grades at that time, they were a lot longer than they are now. And so it would maybe be about 3 hours, before I got back. That's a lot of time. But the thing is the service. So I had resistance, so I had to begin to kind of get to the force. So what did I do at that time was I got with the chaplain. Chaplain became my best friend. And he was a Catholic chaplain at the time. He was a full colonel. And he and I, really, he understood what faith was all about. And he wasn't a narrow Christian as someone who thinks that you have to believe this way. Probably he did. He got a definition of chaplain. They served everybody. And he understood that the Constitution had to make sure that they accommodated my life and my spiritual choices, my faith choices. So he began to communicate with my superiors. And eventually we began to get places. I began to use conference rooms and other things, places that eventually something on the base to make, we pray 5 times a day. Certainly maybe 2 of those normally going to happen during the duty day. And but the religion is flexible. We can sometimes combine those and end up making one prayer period sometimes where we are. But those things, and then Ramadan, certainly again, the military, the highest levels had no knowledge of that. What to do about Ramadan? We have to fast for 30 days, and of course, the military, the training is rigorous. You get up early in the morning, and you don't get to eat anything. You got to go out there, you got to do the drills, do the training, and you got to go all day if you're a Muslim, no drinking anything, and you can't eat anything, until after the sun goes down. And so we needed some accommodations made to make sure, and the shower halls were closed at a certain time, which means if you didn't, when the sun went down, that was at the time the shower hall had closed, so there's no food. And then they open up, you can't eat because at the time they opened them up. So again, no accommodations, and it was difficult. So we had to begin to petition for those things. We eventually got those things. Now, after 9/11 hit, I personally, in exception to the earlier battles that I had in maybe the first 3 years as a Muslim in the military, I didn't have a lot of problems. I was good. When I say good, I was good at my job. And God had blessed me to develop as a person that was one who could gain respect as a young person. In fact, that supervisor that denied me became the best advocate for me shortly after that, because I was just excellent. And the religion taught me that when a Muslim does something, he should seek to perfect it. And that's one of the things that was driving me. And so my supervisor began to create an environment in the main work environment that made it comfortable for me. So that's what made me really begin to excel. And so everywhere I went, that just happened to be the case for me. They were able to support me, allow me to do whatever to do. Because again, I was one of the pioneers. And here in '83, we had Imam Muhammad at the Pentagon trying to open up opportunities. And here I'm just a young person involved with that leadership piece. I was the regional director. We had the first military Muslim organization started in 1981, and I was the first regional director. This as a young person, so just kind of give you an idea of how I was developing and doing things. So as I went on, I wouldn't have a lot of problems. But then I ended up after 9/11, I was in a multi-service environment. When I say multi-service, there were Marines, Navy, Army, Air Force, all working together. And we had a very important job. I mean, really doing what we do to save lives. People who are out front on the line, we were with them saving their life. And so 9/11 hits, and you got Arab nationals a part of the team. So after 9/11 hits, the younger ones begin to cause problems. When I say younger ones, younger sailors, Army, begin to cause problems for I would say Arabs. I'll say Arabs who were among us, because now they were, everybody knew I was a Muslim, but of course I don't look like the ones, and they know me, everybody know my history was a clear book. It's all throughout my military records, even in my awards and everything, my reports, they mention the things that I've been doing as a Muslim. It's very clear. And so I was always a leader, always a leader. I never was a chaplain, but the chaplains wanted me to be one because I was just so good at that world. And but this thing happened in a very critical environment. But we needed the team synergy to save lives. Now, one of them, actually several, at this particular time, I want you to see the picture and why it's so important for us. And this maybe get the question. Marines were getting ready to cross a bridge. And that part was in public. I think they even said what happened. And there was a plot that the enemy in those lands, I think this was again after 9/11, but they had plotted an ambush. And of course, the job, the foreign out, they knew all the what do you call it, the language. I'm like, well, I would say they can speak their language. It's another term for it. So they could, better than us, the Americans, we missed stuff, you know, but they caught it and they knew, but they were slipping because they were beginning to be made feel uncomfortable. They were being called ragheads and other disparaging comments, and they were really beginning to feel uncomfortable, you know, so they couldn't do their job as good. And so the commander came to me because it was affecting the mission, and he said, Chief, I need you to do something about this. And this is what I did. He asked me what are the things I've done. This is what I did. At that time, I went and got 25 strong cases of different categories where Muslims have made significant and are making significant contributions to this country and helps us to be so strong. And the first thing on the list was this. At President Bush, at that time, his top doctor was a Muslim. The president's top doctor was a Muslim. And he's the one who got us into the war, right? And so he said it wasn't against Islam. And so I said he proves that it's not because his top doctor is, and he trusts his Muslim doctor. And then I began to mention others in other areas of service in the country. And the commander, we sent it out. I still have a copy of it. I think it's some of my stuff. He sent it out to the whole base. And that brought it down, and everybody saw that. And it happened right at the time because right as that came down, the critical intelligence that we needed, the ones who got it was able to give it to us, and it helped save